Hi everybody, my name is Angela. Today I wanted to talk about all of the options that you have after graduating from high school. So I know it's a fall time right now and a lot of you guys are studying for the SATs to hopefully get a really good score so that you can get a scholarship and ultimately be accepted into the university of your choice. And if that's what you want to do right after high school and you already know, then that's awesome because you are 10 steps ahead of everybody else. But if you're like me, how I was in high school, and you have no idea what you want to do right after you graduate high school or for the rest of your life, I'm here to tell you that there are more options than just going into the workforce or taking out loans and going to college if you have no idea what you want to study. So the first thing that you can do after high school is you can go and get a trade education and work as a linesman, a plumber, an electrician. And nowadays, they're really making a lot of money because people in those careers are pretty far few in between. So the ones that are doing those trades and positions can really jack up their prices and really make a good, comfortable living doing those career fields. So usually attending a trade school is about 6 months to a year and it's pretty low cost, and you'll really make your money back within that first year or second year doing that trade, and you can end up making a really good living on a trade degree. So if there is something that interests you in a trade job, then I would definitely look into it. The second thing is you can just attend college. You can try to do that whole college experience, but you can always do the trade school thing for 6 months, spend $5,000, and if you realize that it's not for you, you can always go back to college at another time. But usually college costs more, and if you're just trying to test the waters to see if it's for you, I would just be cautionary because a lot of people do that and they end up with a lot of student loans that they're unable to pay back because then they then go into the workforce, which leads me to my third option, which is just joining the workforce. So you can make about 12 bucks an hour just joining the workforce, or you could get an amazing opportunity in the workforce and start out at $20 an hour. If you have the opportunity to join the workforce right after high school and you're making $20 an hour, that's a pretty good gig. But you have to look at that career field that you're in and see what your opportunity for growth is within that company. So if you see the next person up that's making $25 an hour has an associate's degree and the person past them has a bachelor's degree making $30 an hour, and to grow within that company you have to grow educationally, then you have to see if that's something that you're willing to do. If you can go from janitor within your company and go all the way to CEO of that company without getting any education, any formal education, and that's where you want to be and you want to get there within the next 10, 15 years, then that is perfectly okay. But just know what position that you're in. If you want to stay at your same entry-level job, that there's going to be a pay salary cap. So you may stay in that same janitor position for the next 20 years. If you started today as a high school graduation senior and you stayed there for 20 years, you could start at $20, but you could retire at $25 an hour. So just beware of, they can entice you when you're graduating high school to come and work for them and don't go to college because you're making more than your friends working at Burger King and going to college. But in the long run, they're going to grow their income a lot faster because their raises are going to be a lot more significant. So the fourth thing that you can do right after graduation from high school is going to boot camp, joining the military, which is what I did. So I joined the Air Force Reserves right after high school. A week after, I went to boot camp. So I did active duty training for the Air Force for about 9 months, while all of my friends were freshmen in college. So I came back in March, I applied for university, and I attended nursing school that fall. I had made about $10,000 after I had saved about $10,000 those 9-month period that I was working for the military, and I came back and bought a used car, and I had enough money to pay for my first semester of college. Although it was about 75% of my education was reimbursed by the military, I did have to pay for a semester in advance and then they would reimburse me. But it was okay because that year period that I took off, I was able to save a little more than $10,000, maybe 15 actually, where I was able to get a car and have enough money to pay my first semester of college. And the last option that you have is you could join a military college where you attend the college, like West Point or the Air Force Academy, and it is completely 100% paid for by the taxpayers, and you obtain your 4-year bachelor's degree. You do the military on top of that with them, and you're getting paid during that time as well. So you graduate from West Point or you graduate from the Air Force Academy with a bachelor's degree that was 100% paid for, and you now have a job secured for you for the next 3 years with the military. And if you want to get out after that, you can. But if you want to stay in the military, you're able to grow those officer ranks a lot more quickly, or you're able to get higher in those ranks because you did go to their elite Air Force Academy or West Point, and the military recognizes that, and they recognize the knowledge and the experience that you gained through them being able to teach you. And then the last one that I have for you is if you do want to just go right to your local university right after high school, you can do that. And a lot of universities have ROTC programs for specific branches, so you can join those and get your university experience paid for. You'll do the university and you'll have military classes and you'll do their military work on top of that. But your university will be paid for, and you will have to serve a period of like 2 to 3 years of military active duty time back to the military because they paid for your education. So if you want to take a year off, I wanted to take a year off and kind of do the workforce thing, but I didn't want to do it for $10 an hour, $8 an hour. I joined the military and I made a significant amount of money for an 18-year-old. I had a lot of great experiences. I came back as a nationally registered emergency medical technician, and I worked on my local ambulance for about 6 months before I started university. I saved up money with that as well, and I really got an exposure into the nursing field and to what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life, and making sure that I made the right decision. So if you have any questions, just write them in the comments below, or if you want to know a little bit more about each of the things that I went over, I'll gladly talk about them again. But have a good day, okay? Thanks.